Atrophy, beer bong. You know, were you young enough to have this come out when you were a teenager? I was. It's a pretty cool song to see live. And remember when beer bongs were a thing? But I digress. So I want to give props to a guy named Chaz Noise who has a video on here where he played the song. His video helped me in kind of figuring out some fingering and help transcribe this, so props to him. Let's talk about tuning. A440, but it sounded just a little off, so I had to flatten it just a smidge. I wonder why that is. Is my tuner on my pod a little sharp? Did they tune a little flat? Was A440 a little off on that brand 30 years ago? Who knows? You might find it just a little bit sharp, and you notice on the A string power chord on the 7th and 9th fret, it just didn't kind of sound right. So if yours isn't sounding right, flatten it out a little bit on the tone. If you look at the riff on, not that you guys care, but I found this interesting. My power chord finger callus must have been getting soft. I must have been doing too many songs without a whole lot of power chords. This song actually kind of let me know, hey, my calluses are getting soft. So I thought that was kind of entertaining, actually. If you look at on the tab sheet, it's going to be page 1. I think this one's got 3 tab pages, and on page 1 at the 19 seconds to 23 second mark is kind of their fast riff. And what this fast riff reminded me of is that for some of us unfortunate schmucks such as myself, you have to warm up. The last part of this riff, it has a power chord where it's almost like tremolo picking the power chord at the 1st and 3rd fret on the A and D string. And I'll share with you a kind of cool story of professional musicians that don't need to warm up. I was fortunate enough to get backstage with, I think it's Mark Morton, I think is his name, of Lamb of God. And as we're talking to him, someone comes, hey, 15 minutes, and I'm not paying attention. I don't know what the hell that meant. And so he starts doing sit-ups. And the next thing you know, he's walking out to go on stage. That's his warm-up. Well, this riff at 19 seconds to 23 seconds, it took me like 30 minutes of playing for my warm-up. So, for all of us that aren't pros and don't warm up well, we actually have to warm up. The song is a whole 2 minutes long, so it kind of reminds me of SOD. And the riffs repeat. I started working on the solo, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's like no flow to this. And I ran it by a buddy, and he's like, yeah, it's like they took some licks off of Star Licks and just cobbled them together. So I punked out on the solo, but it was still kind of a good song to rock out and kind of relive. And closing statements, tone. So I tried to dial in a tone, and standalone it was a weak tone, and I think it's indicative of the era that this stuff was done. It's really impressive that thrash of early 80s is as heavy as it was, because the tones sucked. I mean, they sound great on the album, but when you dial it in and you want to play kind of on your own with just that tone, there's no inspiration with it. It just, the mids are high, the gain is kind of loose, it's not tight. Just the tones of that era weren't that fun. I kind of ran into that when I did Forced Entry. So I actually used a prong tone. I don't know which one it was for. Is either I had created it for Beg to Differ or the first album, but that sounded pretty good over it. And So there you have it. Hope you guys enjoyed the song. Peace out.